and anyone else.
Malcolm, why do the semantics matter so much? We were just having a conversation a few moments ago about the import of this being defined as a hate crime. Why would you say it's so important that we hear from President Trump, Vice President Pence, other elected officials, that this is a terrorist attack? This is not something that is as liberally applied to incidents that occur on U.S. soil, is it?
Well, first off, most presidents up until President Trump have met the standard of understanding that their words matter and that what they say post-incident is critical for the nation, certainly in the process of healing the nation and the communities that have been affected in and after an attack. We don't hear that with President Trump. As a matter of fact, some of the things that he said, and, you know, I don't want to get into the he said, she said debate, but some of the things President Trump has said has made the American neo-Nazi movement, and in fact the global neo-Nazi movement, view him as a hero. This particular gunman didn't, because President Trump wasn't ruthless enough against Jews for his taste. But it goes out there by saying things like he's a nationalist. That is an actual code word for white nationalist, white supremacists. And they view the president as their agent of execution in policies that bring them forward. Watching the neo-Nazi websites today, like on Daily Stormer and on Reddit, they're actually upset with this attack because they don't want this attack to upset the train that would elect Republicans who would actually mainstream most white supremacist comments, which are happening, unfortunately.
Malcolm, you make a great point, and it's easy for things to get lost when so much is happening here, but it was just only a few days ago that this president willingly and happily cloaked himself in that term of being a nationalist. Let me ask you lastly here, if I could, Malcolm, about the way the president has addressed this thus far. As I said, we're waiting for him to speak, probably read from prepared remarks at this conference in Indianapolis. It was just a few hours ago we were talking about his reaction to these suspicious packages. The way he did that first, when they first came to light, was to have his wife go out and speak about them and to deliver some remarks at a previously planned event. We saw something similar happen on the second day, on the subsequent day. He made the remarks at the beginning of a previously planned event. Looking back at the way presidents have behaved previously, and I think norms are important here, Malcolm, that's not how it's been done. The president could have made remarks from the Oval Office and then gone to that event. He could have done them in a discreet way. As you've listened to the president today on two tarmacs, first at Joint Base Andrews and then on the other in Indianapolis, was he behaving appropriately, addressing them in the manner that he did?
Well, by making a statement, it's almost as if he was pained to make these statements. And the first one, he just immediately reverted back to talking points that were given to him by the National Rifle Association. Hey, I'm a gun owner, big Second Amendment kind of guy, but I know decency at a time when it's supposed to be delivered, and that was not it. Talking about how the Jewish Center should have had their own security. Armed police officers were shot responding to this incident. Then when he landed, it appeared that someone reminded him to make a comment about anti-Semitism. But in fact, he's made veiled anti-Semitic remarks. By tonight, he will be insulting George Soros again, which is code word for the Jewish conspiracy that runs the world. I've had to deal with this throughout my entire career in anti-terrorism, from both Islamic extremists saying this and American radical extremist terrorists in this country saying that, and it leads to massacres. And we're just lucky that we haven't had a gunman mass murder people on the level of Anders Behring Breivik, the Norwegian neo-Nazi radical who mass murdered 69 children so he could get rid of the next generation of Norwegian liberals. This is dangerous stuff we're playing with here. And every terrorism professional in the country would be imploring the president to stop speaking like that, but he never listens to them because he doesn't have any interest in counterterrorism intelligence.
Malcolm Nance, our terrorism analyst here at MSNBC News of the Terror Asymmetrics Project. We're going to come back in just a moment, continue to talk about the shooting that took place in Pittsburgh, bring you the latest from that incident, which resulted in at least 8 fatalities, at least 12 injured in that shooting, which took place this morning in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood. Our coverage continues in just a moment.